Hi, my name is Alicia, and I'm doing something that makes me feel uncomfortable. Happy Pride. um, I have decided that this Pride season, I want to share a few of my personal stories that happen within the workplace in hopes of creating change for other members of the LGBTQ plus community. I hope that these videos are viewed with their intent in mind and that some organizational leaders see them and go forth to create change to build more welcoming workplaces. And I hope that members of the LGBTQ plus community feel seen and heard. So the first story I'd like to share involves a very cute photo of my then girlfriend, now wife, and I at my very first corporate nonprofit job. When I say corporate nonprofit job, I mean a nonprofit job in a nice building. I was no longer grassroots nonprofit. It was just a really exciting experience for me. With this new job, I went out and I got a very nice pencil holder for my desk, and I purchased a picture frame to just hold this cute photo of my then girlfriend and I. And I also bought like an inspirational quote to keep me inspired while I was at work. After being there for a few months, I was invited to be a part of a project. This required me being at work late some days. Sometimes I would be there by myself, and sometimes I would be there with some other coworkers. This particular day, I was in my workspace, or our section of the office, with my boss. He calls me into his office, and I just assume he's going to ask me something about the project, like, what are you working on right now? Can I help you? Something like that, along those lines. To my surprise, he called me into his office to inform me that the photo at my desk was unnatural and that it made people feel uncomfortable, and that I needed to remove it to just make everybody else on the team feel more comfortable and at ease. I was confused because one of my coworkers had a photo on her desk of her and her husband literally making out. And I mentioned this photo and I informed him that that photo made me uncomfortable. She's going to be asked to remove that photo from her desk as well. He informed me no, because her photo represented something that was normal and my photo, again, was unnatural. I was immediately angered. But what he didn't know is that I was like a little activist inside. And as a woman with a comparative women's studies degree from Spelman College, I was just not going to sit there silent. So I took that anger and I informed him that I would not be removing the photo from my desk unless I received notification from the organization that all employees were being requested to remove any personal photos of loved ones, family, and friends from their workspaces. And until I received that notice, that I would not take my photo down. He looked shocked. I was shocked. His face was bright red and he didn't say anything. So I asked him, well, do you have any questions about the project? And he informed me no. And I said, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to go back to my desk and finish working. And then after that, I'll pack up and leave. So I went back to my desk and did not work. My brain was just messed up. I couldn't even pick up on the project where I was. So I just sat there for a couple of minutes so I didn't like immediately leave. And after that, I packed up and I left. On the way home, I actually cried because I didn't know what to do. And when I got home, I spoke to my girlfriend and shared with her what happened. She comforted me, which was very nice, and then said, hey, you don't have to just take that. You can go talk to someone. So I decided to go and talk to the legal department. The organization didn't have an HR department at that time. So I went and I spoke with the legal department. Sadly, they were of no help. They informed me that this was a a personal issue, that it was based on political differences, and that he believed what he believed and I believed what I believed, and that there was no way for the organization or leadership to step in, that we were just going to have to figure out a way to handle this ourselves. I was frustrated, to say the least. So I thought back and just thought about, like, what could I do in this situation that would make me feel better? So I decided that weekend to print a bunch of photos. I printed photos of my wife and I, well, she was my girlfriend at the time, but photos of us together. I printed photos of her by herself doing fun things like playing baseball and things like that. And photos of her and her family, her and her great aunt and her grandma and her mom. And I just printed all these photos out, 4x6s, 5x7s, that kind of thing. And I came in over the weekend and I placed them all over my desk. I had a overhead file cabinet. I taped them there. I taped them everywhere at my desk. The same way that my coworkers had a bunch of photos of their family members and loved ones all over. Remember, I only had one photo at my desk in the beginning because I felt like I shouldn't have too many photos or personal items at my desk. So I just had one photo. I wanted him to see my love, my life, my real self every time he walked past my desk, which was a lot because I sat outside of his office. So I put those there, and I remember the first time he saw them and how angry he got. He stopped at his doorway and just stared at me, and I stared back, and we just stared at each other in silence. And then he walked into his office. So a couple of weeks go by, everything's fine, and we're in a team meeting, and in front of my coworkers, he references like before the end of the meeting that I need to remove my photos. He's like, "Hey Alicia, just a reminder, I talked to you about this." And he didn't say Alicia because he wouldn't say my name right. He said Alicia. That's another story. So he's like, "Hey Alicia, just want to remind you that you need to remove those photos from your desk." I said, "Oh, remove my photos." So I turned to the woman who had the photo of her and her husband making out, because she had multiple photos. She actually had a wall that was filled with photos of her, her husband, her family, her kids, just a bunch of stuff. And so I turned to her and I said, "Hey, insert her name." Did you receive a memo from leadership saying that we need to take down personal photos? I didn't know that." And she's like, "Oh no, I didn't receive any." I turned to another team member. I said, "Did you receive something?" And he's like, "No, I hadn't received anything." I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, none of us have received any kind of memos that we can't have personal photos up." It's like, and he goes, "Oh, well, I talked to you about this before." I said, "Oh yeah, you did. And I told you if I didn't receive a memo from leadership that said that all employees need to remove personal photos of family, loved ones, and friends from their workspaces, that I wouldn't be taking my photos down." And no one has a memo. I was like, "But if you have one, if you could send it to the team, and then we'll know that we all need to take down our photos." And he stared at me and I stared at him. And again, I knew I was going to get fired. But surprise, surprise, I didn't get fired. Actually, I ended up switching departments, which was great. I went to a new department. Nobody bothered me about my photos, and I was just able to show up and just work. Sadly, that whole situation really impacted me and has shaped the way I set up my workspaces moving forward. No matter where I work, I place photos of my now wife and I and our daughter, because we have a daughter now. I put those photos up because I'm proud of my family, and I'm not going to die in silence because somebody feels uncomfortable. I have every right to show up and be who I am at work because I'm there to do great work. You didn't hire me because I really love mandarin oranges, and you didn't hire me because I'm really great at karaoke. You hired me because I am a great marketer. I have a strategic mind, and I know how to help us reach our goals. That's why you hired me. And so I'm there to do that job and to do my job and to do it well. In today's diverse world, employers really need to focus on creating a psychologically safe work environment for all employees. That includes LGBTQ plus employees. And they need to do this not just during Pride Month, but all year long. On average, Americans spend about 47 hours per week at work. Over the span of a lifetime, that is 90,000 hours that we're going to spend within the workplace. Can you imagine going to a place and spending that much of your life there and having to hide a part of who you are or being ashamed of who you are just to go there and give them your skill sets and resources to help them grow? That's torturous. And a lot of people do that every day. Research indicates that LGBTQ plus employees face discrimination and mistreatment more than their heterosexual coworkers on average. And with that, it's no surprise to know that 46% of LGBTQ plus employees don't disclose their identity at work in their workplace because they don't want to be mistreated and they don't want to face discrimination. So this Pride Month, I really urge organizational leaders and managers to invest in diversity and inclusion programs and trainings that help leadership and employees learn how to overcome their biases within the workplace to help create a more welcoming environment and a psychologically safe workplace for all employees. One way to do this is for organizational leaders to develop anti-discrimination policies. These policies should be written down. They shouldn't be verbal, they should be written down, and they should be clear and effectively communicated to all employees so that people know that they can be safe. You can even create these policies that are specifically for LGBTQ plus employees as well. Another option is to really embrace groups. Affinity groups are employee resource groups. By creating spaces for these different groups to evolve and to exist, you help employees connect and build networks with each other. You help them build a better sense of loyalty to the organization and help them find support within each other so that they feel more welcomed and seen within the workplace. These are all essential things that could help create a psychologically safe work environment for LGBTQ plus employees. This type of work isn't something that can just be one and done. It's ongoing, ever evolving, and creating a warm and welcoming environment is going to ensure the mental well-being and safety and welcomeness for all employees within your organization. So this Pride season, and I'll say all year long, I really encourage each of us to create efforts that help our team members, coworkers, leaders, employees, or whoever we work with feel welcomed every day so that they can show up being their true, authentic self so that they can thrive within the workplace. Because when we all show up being who we are, we're not worried about hiding. We're focused on helping the organization reach their goals and helping us reach our own career goals. So I hope this helped. I hope that this connects with someone out there. And if you have any ideas or stories that you want us to tell, feel free to do so. Thank you for watching. Bye.